Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? Welcome to another edition of The Outlet. With me, as always, Parth.
What's up, Nick?
How you doing, Parth? We're about to get into our 28th ranked team today. If you guys didn't catch the last two episodes, number 30 was the Philadelphia 76ers. 29 came in the Denver Nuggets. And today at 28, we have the Portland Trail Blazers. This is a big drop for the Blazers. But before we start talking about them, here's a clip from last season.
Man, I love me some Damian Lillard.
Yeah, me too. I love Dame. I feel bad that I have to rank his team this low, but Dame's going to have to do a lot of that next season. He's going to have to put the team on his back and do it all himself.
Yeah, you expect to see some a lot more 1-4 highs.
Exactly. But the one thing that's not good for Dame is that lane's going to get a lot smaller next season with all the departures.
But man, look at that dunk. That's incredible.
Especially from a guy his size. He's willing to take on anybody in the paint.
What he did in the slam dunk contest, that was a weird like team contest one. But he really showed out. I was really impressed with his dunking ability. Did not know he had that in his game.
I think he did surprise a lot of people in that dunk contest. Like you said, a lot of people didn't know about him being a dunker, but he came through. Even though it was a terrible format, he still showcased his skills.
Right.
Let's talk about the ranking. Do you think this is a fair ranking for the Portland Trail Blazers?
I think it is a fair ranking. Just a year ago, it's crazy to think that before Aldridge got hurt and Wes Matthews went down, this team was a legitimate title hopeful. And now, just a couple of months later, we're ranking them as the 28th best team going into the next season.
Yeah, it is honestly tough to be a Blazers fan right now. Like you said, last season, title contentions. Then you have LaMarcus Aldridge have the thumb issue, but he decides to still play. Then Wes Matthews tears his Achilles. And they were able to pick up Aaron Aflalo, but he never really came through for them. So definitely a rough season. They lost a ton of guys, picked up a ton of guys. Before we talk about that, let's talk about some key returners this season. And there's not a lot. We have Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Myers Leonard. Who do you think is going to have a big season?
It has to be Dame. You need to get big time all-star numbers from him, which he's delivered since he's been in the league. But next season, without the help of LaMarcus Aldridge, Wes Matthews, Nick Batum, Robin Lopez, basically their entire core of last season is gone. So he's going to have to play even bigger than he has in years past.
Exactly. This is going to have to be his best season yet. He's honestly going to have to put up somewhere between 20 to 30 points a night just for the Blazers to compete. Like you said, they lost pretty much their core, their starting lineup, and they added some guys, but none of them really stick out to me. So
CJ McCollum also has to be big for them. He was a lottery pick a couple of years ago, and he's really struggled with injuries. I feel like he's always hurt. He's a great writer. He wrote for the Players Tribune on, I think, how to defend some of the best guards in the league, which is really insightful. But he needs to be able to stay on the court in order to defend the best guards in the league and also score for this team.
Yeah, they definitely need him to come up big. Myers Leonard as well. I mean, he showed some potential in the last few seasons just because he's able to shoot the ball. He's a tall guy, 7 feet. But let's talk about their offseason. I don't want to go through the whole list, so I'll just let you point out a few guys that you thought maybe were a good move and what you thought was a bad move.
In terms of their additions, Mason Plumlee, I think, is a good move for them. Ed Davis also. With Myers Leonard, you don't really know what you have. He shows flashes. He can shoot the three a little bit, but as far as a everyday center, not sure he is that yet. But Mason Plumlee has shown the ability to be an everyday center in spurts for the Brooklyn Nets last season. And Ed Davis is a solid option off the bench or even as a starter.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Mace was probably the best pickup for them, Mason Plumlee. He showed stretches for the Nets that he could start in the NBA. The only thing about Mason, he's a great rebounder. He plays hard on defense, but offensively, he doesn't really have much to his game. He pretty much can dunk, make a few layups, but other than that, you're not going to see him shoot a jump shot or a post move. And Ed Davis, I like him. He's a physical presence. Just the pairing kind of scares me because there's not going to be much spacing at all.
Yeah, and especially with Al-Farouq Aminu, who can't really shoot the ball too well. I think that's putting it lightly. But along with him on the court, and then Noah Vonleh, I do like. Young player, didn't really get much chance to show what he had in Charlotte last season, but the Trailblazers are really high on him, so we'll see what happens this upcoming year.
That was a nice pickup. I mean, I don't know why you trade Batum. I guess they pretty much gave up on this upcoming season if they're willing to trade him. But Noah could come in. He might not be great this year, but going forward, he has some potential. I thought they did some nice moves picking up some young guys, some guys to just maybe try to keep them afloat, but it's going to be way too hard with the guys they lost.
Right, and the thing with their pickups is a lot of them are on really cap-friendly deals or rookie deals, and so they're not paying. Like, for example, the Knicks and the Nets, they pay a lot of money out to all these players, and they're fringe playoff teams. So Portland's not going in that direction in terms of their finances. They're keeping their salary low, and they know they're not going to do too well this upcoming season. So that's a positive silver lining sort of thing.
And they picked up some young players. So, I mean, maybe some of them will pan out. Maybe some won't. Plumlee,
Right.
Noah, maybe. They got Pat Cunnington in the draft. So maybe a few guys pan out. Oh, they also picked up Cliff Alexander, I think, signed him from the summer league. But let's talk about the departures, which is pretty much their whole team from last season almost.
I mean, it's a rough time to be a Portland fan. You had a team a year ago that was challenging, and now majority of your team is gone. Majority of your contending team is gone, I should say. Losing LaMarcus Hurts, of course. Robin Lopez was really good for them. I love him for his hatred of mascots, which I found hilarious. All those videos were awesome. Nick Batum, solid wing player. I think he was their X factor, but again, the injury bug basically bit the entire team last season at one point or another, I should say. And Wes Matthews is big, one of my favorite players in the league, tough, undrafted, and now is with Dallas, making a ton of money. So props to Wes Matthews.
Especially coming off an Achilles tear, he made plenty of money. A lot of people thought he'd maybe catch a less of a deal, but like you said, they lost Aldridge, Lopez, Batum, Matthews, Aflalo, Steve Blake, some of their bench. And I mean, Batum was probably one of my favorite players in the NBA. I just like that he's pretty versatile. He's able to defend. He throws some great passes. He's improved the shot, but it's a little bit inconsistent still. So I was kind of surprised when they traded him. And then Wes Matthews, I figured was going to be out of town, especially if he knew everyone else was leaving and he wanted to collect his money.
Right.
Marcus Aldridge, I mean, would you rather play with this team or the Spurs and have a chance at a championship? It's a pretty easy answer right there.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer there.
Exactly. So
I think losing Steve Blake is also kind of like a sneaky big loss, just because looking at their roster, obviously Damian Lillard's their starting point guard, but then who comes off the bench and gives him time off?
Exactly.
Right now it's Phil Pressey. Who they picked up. I think he played with Boston last season, but Steve Blake, is a veteran. He can lead a team with spot minutes off the bench. But with Phil Pressey, you're just unsure. He's young. He may work out, may not. You never know. But losing that stability,
it hurts them, especially with an already young team now, and they have a lot of turnover. Having a point guard that can lead your second unit, it's pretty big in the NBA. I mean, Dame's going to play a lot of minutes, but him and Blake played a little bit together last season. So
the thing is, too, with Lillard playing all those minutes, he's going to have to exert himself, or probably overexert himself to keep this team in keep this team in games and relevant offensively. So having a backup to spell him would have been great.
Exactly, because he's gonna have to exert himself on the offensive end. Defensively, he's gonna even probably be a little bit worse this season, and he's just gonna have to play close to the whole game just for it to be a competitive game, and the Blazers aren't getting blown out. If Lillard misses any stretch of injury, it's almost a guarantee the Blazers will lose all of those games.
Right, and it's crazy to think that last playoff season when they were playing the Memphis Grizzlies, I think it was Shaq who said this on Inside the NBA, where Lillard wasn't really having an overall impact on the game. And he was just, if he couldn't score, he didn't really make an impact on the game. And so I don't think this year Portland will win any games if he's not able to have that offensive impact as well as be a playmaker, be a defender. He's really going to have to up his game and play a really solid all-around game this year.
Exactly. He's going to have to set up his teammates. He's going to have to make shots. He's going to have to get in the paint. He's going to have to do everything. So it's going to be a tough year for Dame. Going forward, what would you say is their X factor?
I'd say their X factor is keeping Damian Lillard healthy. You would hate to see Lillard go down with an injury after seeing what happened with Brandon Roy, Greg Oden, and all of the injuries last year. Another injury to a major player would really hurt this team. So I think health is definitely an X factor.
Yeah, I would definitely have to probably agree. Damian Lillard's health is the X factor. It's going to decide if this team's competitive in games or if they're just getting blown out by 20 points every night. So they need a big season from Dame, and they need him to stay healthy.
And I don't really think, as far as I don't think this team will win many games, but you would hate to see Lillard get hurt while they're losing.
Yeah, it would just kind of add to the punishment for the Blazer fans.
Right.
So best case scenario for the Blazers next season.
They stay healthy, their players develop. A lot of the younger players that they have are on really good deals, and so you'd love to see them develop. And as the organization, you want to see them play better than what they're getting paid. You'd hate to see underachievers. So development, maybe win a couple of close games for their fans, keep their fans interested. But they definitely need that pick, which will be interesting because right now they currently owe their 2016 first round pick to Denver. But they do have it protected 1 through 14. So
they should be able to keep it most likely.
Right. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but you definitely don't want to luck up and try to make the playoffs. You want the best lottery picks possible.
Exactly.
This needs talent.
Exactly what I was going to say. This team does need talent. I would say best case scenario, some of the young guys turn out. Maybe Plumlee shows he's a legit starter in the NBA. Damian Lillard takes his game to the next level. Gerald Henderson proves that he's actually a starter, not just on a bad team in Charlotte. So I think that's best case, and they get the high lottery pick. But worst case scenario.
Injuries, man. The health is their X factor. You'd hate to see any other guys go down, especially Lillard. I feel like he has a lot of room to grow still, even at his all-star level. But you'd hate to see an injury mess up his development in terms of being a better playmaker and all-around player for this team.
Yeah, I mean, the injury for Dame, and then probably just you don't want him to take a step back. Just, he's used to playing with great players like Aldridge, Batum, Matthews, and Lopez, having a good starting core that kind of make his life a lot easier. Now he's going to have to lead this team, and he's going to have to do everything. Nothing's going to really come easy, and he's going to have to set up his teammates. So I think this will be a worst case would be that he doesn't take it on the right way, and he just has a rough season, and he gets discouraged.
I agree with that.
So then moving on to one of our favorite segments, the truth. And today the emoji we're going to go with is an airplane. The airplane signifies that everyone's leaving Portland and they're on to a different city, and Dame's left there all by himself.
That airplane emoji sums up their offseason perfectly.
A lot of planes
Everyone
out.
has left town, yeah.
Exactly. And then everyone knows probably by now that Parth's getting League Pass for the first time this season. So Parth, are you going to watch the Portland Trail Blazers this year?
Well, Portland has 5 national TV games. I'll probably watch those. But as far as League Pass goes, I doubt I'll be tuning in. Maybe if I get a notification that, hey, Portland's in a close game coming down to the wire. Of course, you want to see Dame Lillard because that man is clutch.
Yeah, he can put up some big threes. And maybe we'll even see a dunk like we showed earlier in the segment, earlier in the show. But would you rather watch the Portland Trail Blazers or watch Love and Hip Hop?
I think I'll stick with the Trailblazers here. I don't know if I really want to watch Love and Hip Hop.
Okay. And for our next team, the hint going forward is going to be this is Parth's favorite League Pass team. So if you want to find out who that is, tune into the next show. Thank you guys for listening.